Hello, and welcome to the Leading with Andrew show with me, Andrew. I'm so glad you're here. This is a show all about communication and the universal motivation to get better at it. So whether you are an established speaker, or you are facilitating to top executives, or you just want to get better at articulating what it is that you want, I promise you an energized dose of tips and tools. Every episode, I bring you guests who are extraordinary communicators across several industries. So let's get into it. Monique Russell. Now, before we get started, Monique, I have to read this incredible intro. Monique Russell is a global communications skills advisor who teaches leaders and teams how to upskill and retain talent through strategic leadership development. Organizations like Amazon, Microsoft, Google, the Centers for Disease Control, Verizon, Intel, Equifax, and the world's busiest airport, Atlanta, I've been, Hartsfield-Jackson International, trust Monique to guide them in implementing communication strategies that foster connection, community, creativity, and courage. Monique is the proud mother of 2 young men, a wife, and a CEO of Clear Communication Solutions, an international training, coaching, and consulting firm that focuses on confidently communicating from the inside out. Believe it or not, there's more. She is the author of The Ultimate Speaker's Guide and the book Intentional Motherhood, Who Said It Would Be Easy, and the host of the Bridge to You podcast. Monique, welcome.
Oh my God. I don't think I have been this excited to do a podcast, Andrew. You have brought the fire. I can't wait. It's going to be a wonderful conversation.
I think it's going to be really good. And just to build some context for everybody, we started a connection on LinkedIn, and that's where we met and we started chatting. And then we hopped on a call and we realized we've got a few things to say. And now it's manifested to you in Dubai, all the way from the States, here in Dubai, in a podcasting studio in Dubai, off the tail of one of the most incredible conferences from what I've been seeing on LinkedIn and on Instagram. But before we get into that, first tell me, how do you juggle all of those titles? Author, mother, wife, CEO.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's not easy. It wasn't easy, but now I feel like it is. And I think that the whole aspect of juggling it all is for me to just be true to myself and be true to my core. Before, I was always stressed about, okay, I need to do this for my kids. I need to be the good wife. I need to da-da-da-da-da. But no, once I stay true to my core and I put myself first, then it's easy for me to put all those other roles in their respective boxes. So that's the strategy. Put you first.
Put you first.
Where you go, you will always be. But you may not have the role of, I don't know, a wife. You may not have the role of a CEO. You may not have the role of a business owner or whatever it is. So if you put yourself as the center, you're the brand, then when one of those other roles shakes or wobbles, you won't crumble. And that's how you juggle the whole aspect of all the things that you do when you're doing them.
I love that. You said something there that is absolutely amazing. Key takeaway already. We have not even 5 minutes in. I love it. Is wherever you go, you will always be. Say more.
Yes. Okay. So like you said, I'm here in Dubai. I live in the United States. I grew up in the beautiful islands of the Bahamas. Mom's from the Bahamas, dad's from Nigeria. And I actually just came back from East Kenya yesterday, right? And that was my first trip to Kenya. Where you go, you will always be there. Sometimes people are looking for an escape. They think that if you just change environments or change jobs or change countries, that you're going to solve all the problems that you are running away from. But that's not true. You're there. So we have to get honest with ourselves as individuals, as leaders, as world changers. We have to get honest with ourselves about where we struggle, where we can improve, and what we are freaking amazing at. Just be honest. That's what I mean. What do you think? What do you think, though?
Absolutely. No, we were talking about it earlier. Again, more context. When we were standing, waiting to come in and use this beautiful studio, about the roles and ways we try and fit in when we're really, really young. And that can sacrifice sort of connection, or can sacrifice authenticity. And I think that's really true, is just be where you are, be present in the moment. And I think you're able to take up so much more in that space.
You know what that just made me think of too? Like the other day, I had a conversation with a lady who we were talking about family constellations, right? And how so many of what we do, how we do it, why we do what we do, sometimes it's not even our own. So science and research just shows like up to 3 generations, you can pick up emotions and patterns and behaviors. And it was so interesting because I know that happened for me in my business where I was really hesitant towards doing collaboration with people because I felt like, oh my God, they're going to just, be untrustworthy.
I would never have picked that up with how we've just come into
Are
a
you
collaboration.
kidding me?
That is insane.
No, this was before.
Okay.
This was before with like different levels.
Of course.
But I realized I was picking up something from my grandfather.
Oh, wow.
Because my first job was at 12 years old in my grandfather's office. I didn't know a whole lot about everything, but I knew that he had gone into a lot of bad business deals.
Okay.
And so when I really unpacked it and I went through coaching and all this other stuff, and we were like, okay, well, why do I think they're going to mistreat me? Why do I think it's going to be a bad deal? Like really unpacking, I was carrying this emotion that wasn't even mine.
Oh, wow.
So then we have a choice. We get to choose once we're aware of, why we do what we do.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm trying to think when you were talking, there's one of the things, the emotions that I've inherited from my parents, particularly my mother. She's probably going to kill me for mentioning this on a podcast that's going to be broadcast to the world. But is she goes worst case scenario every single time, where it's like every time an event or something comes up, or we're traveling, or she has to do something, we immediately go worst case scenario. Oh, you're driving at night? People are going to be drunk driving as well, so you're probably going to die. So, I mean, and I've picked that up, and it served me to a certain extent, particularly when it comes to preparing for any speaking gig, for any podcasting gig or anything like that, where I'm trying to think what could go wrong so that I can prepare for it. But it's so true. We really do inherit so much from our family. It's part of our DNA, right?
Mm-hmm. At least you knew it, though. At least you're aware.
And not many people get there. But I think what's also important is to know that at some point that would have served you, and at some point it doesn't serve you. So having that awareness of exactly when to draw from that energy is, I think, what every coach really wants for their client, right? Now tell me, when did you know that communication and leadership was the field that was meant for you?
You want the real answer or you want the real answer?
We got time, girl.
Okay.
We got time.
I was 8 years old when I knew
Wow.
it was for me. I was 8 years old. That was my very first speaking engagement in front of 100 people in church. And actually around that same time, I was doing ballet. And I remember doing a performance. This memory is coming to me like right here. And I remember doing this performance. Oh my God, Andrew, there's so many things. And in this performance, I had to do a cartwheel at the end. A cartwheel and then ta-da at the end, right? Now, we only had a certain amount of runway on the stage. And so as we backed up, the young girls and we backed up, I could tell that I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough space to do it. But I had to make this decision. Either I'm going to do it and fall off the stage, or I'm going to do it or I'm going to do it and it's going to be great. So I did it. I did the cartwheel. I landed. I did my ta-da. But as soon as I landed, I was like, and everybody laughed because they knew they could feel the same thing that I was feeling.
Intense.
But then and there, I knew communications was for me. It was for me. And I continued that through all of my early elementary. I was in drama, performance. I would memorize my lines and everybody else's lines.
She's the understudy of the understudy.
This is what I'm saying. So I feel like it called me. I didn't know right then, but through retrospection, obviously, introspection, retrospect, I know that was my calling. And fortunately, my mom exposed me to a lot of different activities so that I could actually see what I was good at and what I was gifted at.
That's brilliant. When you say looking back at retrospect, I think one of the things is it's the constellation of your life. it's all dots before the event takes place that connects all of it, right? And it's so funny that you went back to that event when you were 8 years old, and that's really where it came up for you. I'm trying to think of like when was the first time the memories just come back to me as well. I was cabin crew and I was flying for Etihad Airways as cabin crew, and we had this procedure of when a new crew member had finished or graduated from the training school, they would come on board the aircraft and they had to do 2 supernumerary flights where they're just observing. They're not part of the operational crew or anything like that. And whenever I had one of them on board, the way that I would show them the aircraft and the equipment and procedures, they would always turn around and say to me, are you a trainer? And I'm like, no, I'm just really passionate about aircraft. And eventually I had this opportunity. I knew I didn't want to go into safety or service training, but I had this opportunity to go into leadership development training. And I remember walking to the front of the room for the first time and talking about emotional intelligence with leaders who just want to be better. And that's when the penny dropped for me. So it was a lot later. I mean, again, looking back at the constellation of my life, it's always been there. And like you so beautifully said, it calls you. It really, really calls you. And I remember, watching that penny drop in your audience, or watching that penny drop with any time that you're facilitating with a group of leaders when they go, that's what you mean, is the most rewarding feeling for me. I don't know if you feel the same.
I feel it. Yes, I do. When my clients get it, oh man, because you know that from that point on, they have a tool. I don't remember what the quote was where, help me out. Like, once the mind is expanded, it can't go back to its original form.
I don't know the saying, but I know.
You know what I mean?
I've got another analogy for that if you want.
Bring it out.
So somebody explained, and I don't want anybody to come and quote me on the exact science of it, but go with me here. We have, I think it's 30 or 40,000 genes, up to 80. I'm confused on that number. And somebody said, compare them to light bulbs on like a Broadway stage. As the stage is about to sort of start, or as the concert progresses, more lights come on to create an effect, right? So every time you go through a stressful situation, or you learn something new about yourself, usually associated with an emotion, right? One of these light bulbs is turning on, okay? But at some point, some of those light bulbs flame out, right? And that's exactly how genes work. Sometimes genes are activated when you're in the womb and never activated again. But when you go through something really stressful, a new gene is activated. So when somebody says to you, you are not the same Monique that arrived at this podcast studio, it's true. And what you were saying, when we were getting ready, for everybody watching and listening, when we were getting ready, we did feel a little bit nervous there, getting onto the mic. And in that moment, we immediately become different people because some gene has expressed. I mean, that's not the science, so don't quote me on this. And I feel like neurologists or neurobiologists are going to come after me, but
that's all right.
That's okay. So yes, when you see it in a client's face, you were saying.
Yeah, when I see it or hear it, I just feel so excited that I get to contribute to that awareness, because for me personally, you grow up and you think you know everything and you don't. You know nothing. But it's almost like you're constantly becoming more aware of who you are as you develop. So I love the gene analogy. And I'm just in awe that you could be so passionate about some topics that people would normally call mundane. First of all, how do you become passionate about aviation? Hello, but I digress. But seriously, when I see someone go through that awareness journey, I feel like it is the greatest gift that you can give to someone. Because, as trainers, as leaders, it doesn't matter what it is we're trying to get someone to learn, a new skill or whatever have you. At the end of the day, the biggest thing is that mindset. So if there's some way that we can unlock or help someone to see for themselves, not dictating, not dictating, not commanding, not let me teach you or even lecturing, here's a big information dump, but getting them to transform in a way that they can embrace it and embody it and then do something with it. Oh man. It's
I love
genius,
that.
right?
And transform is the best thing. And this is what I say to any learning and development people that I interact with is stop trying to change things, stop trying to change people, transform. Because transform, you honor what has taken place and you bring parts of it with you when you transform and do something new. Whereas change is out with the old, in with the new. So people don't realize that when you go through change, particularly, I mean, keeping it in the context of the podcast of speaking, and when you speak for the first time and that change that you go through, a part of you really dies because you've stood up to this challenge and you've really stepped into who you are. You said another beautiful. I think we're just going to be bouncing off each other the entire time. But you said something so beautiful as you think you know everything when you're younger, and it's great that you've got that confidence. I mean, when young people come, I say young people. I mean, like I'm old. Or like,
We
like
young. I don't know about you,
decrepit.
I'm young, Andrew.
Okay, so let's put that into when I see the young 20-year-olds coming my way with ideas, I always say you have to surround yourself with people that don't think like you. That's how you expand. That's how you grow networks. That's how you learn. I mean, we had a pre-call online, and I really learned so much from you in that moment. And we were talking about artificial intelligence.
There you go. And TikTok.
And TikTok. How much I've learned from TikTok. And people go, oh, sometimes TikTok's for the Gen Zs. And I'm like, no. The more you learn to embrace it, the more you're going to learn from there. And I've learned so much about learning and development. I've learned so much about public speaking and podcasting and things. I actually learned about Dubai Podcasting Studio on TikTok.
What?
That's how I found this space.
No way.
Yes. So there's so many things when it comes to just putting yourself out there and listening and leaning in. I mean, I sort of lost my train of thought there, but I want to know more about, when you're talking about coaching leaders and working with leaders, talk to me about this conference that you have just come off of. It looked amazing. For those of you who don't follow Monique on Instagram or LinkedIn, you will, because I will give you the details at the end of the show. You walked on stage dancing and you were talking to me through a little bit of what was in the prep for the show of, you wanted the audience to really connect with the music or the song that you wanted to walk on stage with. And I mean, let's talk about how you prepared for that and then talk me through the conference.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I got to make sure that I keep my passion in check because the energy is going to be on 15. Okay. So for anybody listening or watching, let me just say, first of all, it was the International Women's Leadership Conference, and it was hosted by Miss Ibukun Owoshika, who is a tycoon, a business tycoon, a luminary, a global leader. I was introduced to her from a colleague in Atlanta who sent me a WhatsApp and, hey, I think you should attend this conference. And this is somebody that, we're in a similar space. I respect her. I took a look at it. I didn't really know much about, in the conference or, who she was. But when I watched one interview, I was like, okay, this aligns with me. I told you I'm from the Bahamas. My dad's from Nigeria. I have a passion to facilitate connections among Black cultures, to do business, to do knowledge share, the whole shebang. So I came to the conference and, I didn't really know anybody, but that would never stop me from going anywhere, obviously. And as I came, like prior to the conference, I registered and everything, and I came there, I signed in. But before that, they had a slot where you can submit your information if you wanted to participate. Now, this is a huge conference. Nobody knows me here. They don't know my background. They don't know who I am. I'm a first timer, a first time comer, Andrew. Okay. So if you have a conference, I'm pretty sure you're not putting no first time somebody you don't know on your stage. Okay. Let's just start there. Let's just be honest and real. But I came there. They said they had sent me an email, but it never came through after I registered. The lady said, oh, Monique Russell, did you get my email? I said, no, I didn't get your email. What email? She said, I emailed you. You're speaking tomorrow. I said, what? I'm speaking? Fantastic. Fantastic is what I said. That was the first word that came out of my mouth. But I will tell you what was in my brain was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And let me just be honest, since we're being honest. I didn't even remember what I submitted, okay? So, should I say that? I didn't even remember. So I was like, and I looked back because usually when I have a submission, I make a note of that. I put it in my little OneNote. Come on,
absolutely,
like we business people. So I'm searching my OneNote. I'm searching my email. I'm searching like, okay, what did I say? But anyway. The other thing was, Monique, do you even have anything stage worthy? Stage worthy. Oh. Yeah, I plan to be in the audience. So I have what I plan to be in the audience. But when you're on stage, that's a whole nother thing.
Okay, so just pause for a second there. You only found out you were here already.
I was here.
And then they told you.
When I checked in at the conference.
Oh my.
When I was walking away.
You're speaking tomorrow.
Hello.
Oh my God. Okay.
Hello.
There is a. Okay.
Hello. Hello, somebody. So, but this is the power of knowing your material, being able to assess what the audience needs. I'm just going to, let me break it all the way down here because I thought then, I said, you know what? I don't have something stage worthy. I'm not a big makeup person, but I do know like if there's a huge event, makeup is a thing. Plus, this is a primarily African audience. A lot of Nigerian women are in. It's a women's leadership conference. And, they like to bring the glam. So there are some things that you want to make sure you have in place. I tell my clients, like, there are distractions and there are things that will help you accelerate your resonance with your audience, right? So if you know that your audience is about glitz and glam and makeup, you don't have to be putting on 15 cakes of layers, but you could do a nice, you could do something nice.
Just let it bake.
You could do something nice. And then, of course, I'm here in Dubai. I understand my audience and, the age generation, the different generations. So I'm like, I'm going to choose something that's a long dress to the floor, but still a little shoulder candy, something to get a little flair.
Something Monique.
Yes. And so the day before, because of the conference, there's a conference app, so you can engage on the conference prior to the conference, which is something I recommend everybody do to begin to build relationships. And because of that, I was able to get here and have meetings set up with people. So someone I had breakfast with the day before happened to also be a makeup artist.
Oh,
so when I found out at 11 p.m. that night, I was like, hey, can you do my makeup tomorrow at 8 a.m.? And 9, she already had a whole full list of people. And when I got there, people were sitting down waiting. But she said, I can take you. I can squeeze you in 20 minutes. And I'm like, I'm there.
I'll take it.
I'm there.
And you met her through the conference app before the conference, mingling with guests that would be there.
I didn't know. I met the person who I was supposed to meet who I met through the conference app. I went to have breakfast with her, and she had a colleague who was sitting there.
Oh my God.
That person I met the day before. Yeah.
Wow.
Let me tell you, the power of God and the universe. This is what I'm saying. And so I went back that night. I was like, all right, you're not going to be taking melatonin because, whenever I travel and the time difference, sometimes I have my melatonin. I got to get my deep sleep.
Course,
it's
absolutely.
a thing. Water and sleep is a serious thing. And so I said, no melatonin for you tonight, Monique. You're going to sit down and you're going to write this speech. I was given about 7 minutes. And Andrew,
7
the shorter
minutes.
the message is, the harder it is to get it right. You give me 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, I could just, So edit. Then we had to think about like what song we wanted to come into. And so I have all sorts of songs that I like, but again, I'm always about my audience. I know my audience, consists of a lot of older African women. I know the Premier Gao song is something that I like, but it's something that they could also resonate. So before I even speak, before I even open my mouth, I'm intentionally setting an emotion of rapport and likability, right?
Wow.
And then, of course, I'm going to run up on that stage because guess what? I'm bringing the energy. If I'm just walking on the stage doing my thing, it's another thing. But the way you read my bio, you see what I'm saying? Like, let me give an example. You read my bio with so much energy and passion. I just wanted to start running around the studio. So you brought a different set of energy. I've had my bio read multiple times. Some people have butchered it. Some people, it's monotone. It's like, get through it. Don't even read it. Don't even read it.
Can we
Let's
cut
just
that
get
out?
it. But running on the stage, not in marathon running, mean, but just jumping on. I mean, I had to think about a lot of different things. I have a long dress. I have steps. It's not like I'm coming up behind the podium. So I got to get up there quickly. And then my time is starting the minute the music is playing.
So you've technically only got like 6 minutes, 30 seconds.
And I didn't even have that.
Oh, wow.
Because
okay.
it was cut shorter. Yes. So I got on there. I did my thing. I had a little glitch in the beginning, but I, kept it going, went right back on track, and it felt amazing.
Okay. There is so much that I want to ask you about this. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. So there's two things that I'm walking away with immediately from listening to that story, and that is having RuPaul says, all right, and then maybe shouldn't mention that here, but anyway, if you are always ready, you never have to get ready. So when somebody asks you, or says to you, by the way, you're speaking tomorrow. Okay, great. I've got something as a baseline that I can use to immediately filter down, right? So you've got something that's always ready. You've got something that's on the go as a speaker or as a communications coach. And the next thing is, and I say this, it's something I've been focusing on my Instagram reels recently, is it's not about you. It's about your audience and what they're going to walk away with. And the fact that I think there's a method to how you prepared for that. And I mean, that's, entirely personal and everybody prepares differently. But you looked at the demographic of your audience. You looked at exactly where you were located in the region. And you looked at the theme or the overarching theme for the event. And those three things, I think, would have driven exactly how you prepared the way that you did, right? Brilliant.
100%.
It's absolutely brilliant. But now, talk to me when you say it was amazing. Oh, no, wait, no, there's still something else that I want to ask you. You said there's something about a technical or a glitch that happened. What happened and how did you push through that?
So in my opening, I talked about 30% of highly engaged people are leaving to start a business. I immediately polled the audience because I wanted to see how many people in the audience resonated with what I said in the beginning. And then my next statement was around, there comes a time in a woman's life when she knows she's ready for her next move. Mm-hmm. She doesn't know how, she doesn't know why, she doesn't know when, she doesn't know how. That was my glitch. So I was supposed to go
so how,
why, when, how, why, how, why, when. It was like maybe a 5-second blip, but It felt like a 50,000 second blip. And I'm like, in the opening, Monique? Really? Dang, could you at least wait in the middle?
And you're having all of these thoughts while it's happening, right?
Real time. Because the opening and the closing, that's where you go. So my opening, I felt like, okay, I had a little glitch here. And then the time was cut short, so I couldn't do the proper finish that I really wanted. But I was like, nah, the music came on and I'm just going to increase my volume.
It's like you're accepting an award at the Oscar and you just like start dancing.
That's it. So I moved in, I just adapted to whatever was presented to me at the time. And that was, that was really it. To be able to be placed on such a global stage. I'm talking about, we have had the woman who owns the largest manganese mine in South Africa, largest manganese mine on the continent of Africa, sitting in the room. You have First Lady from Ghana sitting in the room. You have so many accomplished leaders, MDs, CEOs. We had Professor Kandeep Mehta who led us through negotiation in the room. So many brilliant people. To be able to stand there, even if it was for 1 minute, I was good. But to have a whole 5+ minutes,
that's amazing.
Even better.
That is incredible.
Even better.
One thing that I want to pick on over there is, so your time was cut short while you were on stage. it can happen,
Yes.
right? These are how events go. What would be a piece of advice that you would give to somebody that's speaking and that happens, where you've got this real big philosophical, emotional, impactful closing and you don't get to do it?
Well, you have to have a close. You have to you have to have a close no matter what it is. It might be cut short, but then you go into something that would be memorable and you go into something that would leave them and you on a high, right? And encouragement always works. So if the last thing that you hear from me is that you're unstoppable, oh my
Oh
God.
my word.
Oh my God.
You're looking at me saying
Do you
that, and I
understand
think
what
you're
I'm
just
saying?
like, she's in the stage character now. And I'm like, that's right. Cue Sia music, unstoppable. I'm ready to take on the world.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
if I tell you that the power is in you. Yeah.
Okay, so we have to turn to camera for this because,
Yes.
okay, did you see and hear, for those of you who are listening, what Monique did with her voice? Where she went, you are unstoppable. You slowed down. You made, do you see how powerful the voice is? How powerful this instrument is? Your ending was cut short, but you ended with that. And I'm sitting here feeling like I can take on the world right now.
Exactly. And did you see how he received the emotion, how he received the energy just from a slight shift? And this is exactly what we tell leaders all the time. It's not even just what you say, it's how you say it. People will hear the tone, they will hear the energy, they will feel what's inside of you. And even if you say, this is a safe space, don't get me started.
If I had a dirham or a dollar for every time I've heard that, this is a safe space.
But you can feel it, that it's not genuine. So they can feel, people know. Your customers know, your team knows, you know when you lying to yourself. You got the affirmations on the wall and you know, if we can see your affirmation wall.
I feel very attacked,
Okay,
Monique.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying, the power of your voice, the power of intention, the power of aligning and always focusing on your audience. Like you said, it's not about you. And I think that's where a lot of people, they get they get stuck. It's not about you and, I'm going to go on stage and it's about me, my song. And yeah, that might help you. Maybe if you're in the boxing ring,
Okay.
and you need that song to pump you up so you could go in the ring and do what you need. But at the end of the day, it really is all about the audience. And I'm not saying put the audience on a pedestal, like they're here and you're there. No, you're going to find a commonality, so that you're not feeling like a robot and you're not feeling fake and you're not feeling like I have to put on to be or to be received.
I love that. It's when people say to me, I'm so nervous about going onto stage, or I'm so nervous about getting in front of a camera. I say to them all the time, the moment you start, when you start focusing on the audience, when you're actually thinking about what you're saying. Because what a lot of people don't know when they get started is they're thinking about what they look like without thinking about what they look like. That's when you see the closed body language. That's when you see the, that really, where they're holding the audience up there, right? And I say to people, the moment you start with the most simplest tool is start listening to your WhatsApp voice notes. And people are like, what? Start listening to your WhatsApp voice notes. And they go, but I sound terrible. Well, newsflash, that's what you sound like to us. Okay. And they go, really? I said, yes. And then there's actually a science to why you sound different when you record it as to what you hear coming up, because of your facial structure and your vocal cords and the bass that is created when you hear it as opposed to what comes out. So the moment you become comfortable with your voice, then impromptu, get a phone, record yourself for 5 minutes, sit back and watch it with no sound. Then you're going to see the hands going everywhere. And then you're going to see, the more you do that, I tell people all of the time, the more that you do that is when you start focusing on your message. And that's when you start focusing on what the audience is going to walk away with, because you're not worried about what you look and what you sound like.
Oh my God. Clap, 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 clap. Standing ovation. Can I add to that?
Please.
Oh my God. So that reminds me, when I was teaching in the university, I taught for 7 years public speaking. That was one of the courses in the science of communication that I was responsible for. And then I did the online course as well. And people would wait until the last semester to take the public speaking course. They wouldn't do it in person, but they would do it online, all because of this big fear. So they thought, like, I'm online, I don't have to see anybody. But one of the assignments was that they had to go find like 3 people, record and upload the file, and then they have to do video record. This is way before the pandemic and Zoom and all this other stuff. And so what would happen is people would submit and they would send a note and say, this took me 15 takes, or it took me like 9 times, which I love because it got them to practice, it got them to be comfortable with themselves. Many speakers do not listen to their speeches. They do not look back at what they have delivered because, and I feel that's the part of the self-awareness of being comfortable with who you are. Like, the whole mirror exercise, like really looking into the mirror, saying that you love yourself, forgiving yourself for whatever you've done, like being one with yourself, confronting yourself. I think so many people are afraid to do that it hinders them. But if they are starting with what you said in terms of like using the voice recorder, first of all, I don't want to sound like I am just full of myself because I listen to all my stuff and I listen to it and I'm like, girl, that was good. I was like, girl, you good. Like that was okay. And don't
do you know why I'm laughing? No, do you know why I'm laughing?
You do the same thing,
I do the
Andrew.
exact same thing. And also, do you know where? Mariah Carey listens to herself all of the time. And I'm like, well, no wonder she's still valid. No wonder she's still singing. She knows what people want. And she's clearly grown and her voice has grown because she's listening to herself. You've got to do it.
Yes.
You've got to do it.
Yes. Even the WhatsApp messages.
Yes.
I play them back too.
Girl,
so
there is no shame
There's
here.
No shame.
No shame, no judgment.
But that also helps you to build more love for yourself because you get to hear yourself, you get to see yourself. Because so many people are like, oh, I don't want to, my nose looks this, my hair, like my, all of this thing. But doing this is building your self-awareness. It's building your confidence. It's building, I'm going to switch here. Like that also makes me think of the imposter syndrome.
Oh.
Ooh. Oh boy.
How much time do we have?
I don't know. And I'm not a brain scientist or whatever have you. But I feel, and this might be an unconventional view, but I feel like a lot of times when people are feeling like a fraud or they feel like imposter, I don't like the word, by the way. I think people should reject it. I think we should boycott the word imposter syndrome. Done. Boycott. Who's joining the movement? Are you joining the movement?
I'm in.
Thank you. So I feel like there's this thing that whenever we do something that we're getting ready to do, we have that nervous energy, just like before the show. And you said, channel the energy, Monique. Channel the energy. I said, I'm starting to feel nervous. We're connected. We're cool. We have a great relationship. But right before we got started, I started to feel that nervous energy. And so did you. And, we worked each other through it. So there's the human science emotion, there's brain science, there's physiology that goes on. If I'm in the safari and a lion comes to me, I'm not going to say I have imposter syndrome. Kitty. I'm going to be afraid. Yeah. So I feel like there's some confusion with natural normal fear versus saying that I am having imposter syndrome. That's the first thing I wanted to just bring out. The second I feel is maybe you feel like a fraud because you are one.
Oh.
Maybe you feel fraudulent because you are engaging in fraudulent behaviors. I know that stings a little bit, so let me clean it up. So here's what I mean. For example, when we're talking about self-awareness, everything is interconnected. So you want to go on vacation, but you say, hey, boss, my mom's sick and I need to take two weeks off because my mom's sick. You and I both know that that's not true. That's fraudulent, right?
Absolutely.
So, or you know what? You have visited a new country. Let's say you're in Dubai, you're in Kenya, you're in Japan, and you go to a museum or a attraction, and there's a fee for residents and there's a fee for non-residents. And they assume that you're a resident and you pay the resident fee, but you're not a resident. that's fraudulent behavior.
Absolutely.
And so every little thing that we do, we think it's just innocent. We think it's just, oh, it's something. It's so easy to turn and close your eye and not be a person of integrity. It's very easy to not be a person of integrity.
Absolutely.
You have to work on it. So if we're engaging in fraudulent behaviors and everything is interconnected, it would make sense to me that you would feel fraudulent when you're simply trying to do something new. So we need to clean that up. The last point about imposter syndrome that I want to say is you cannot feel like an imposter for something that you've worked for something that you've invested in, for something that you've spent time on. You went to school, you have a degree, you spent 4 years, you got your grades, you went to class. No one's going to come and tell you, oh, or you're not going to tell me that you feel like you're an imposter for having the degree you have. No, it doesn't make sense, right? So why now do we want to adopt this, oh, I have imposter syndrome? No, that's an excuse. You're hiding behind this term because you're afraid to confront yourself. You're afraid to listen to your WhatsApp voice notes, and you're afraid to be honest with yourself about where you are falling short, where you're doing well, or the fact that you're just stepping out of your comfort zone. Don't call it imposter syndrome. That's not what it is.
I love that. Just stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I saw something the other day which really struck a chord and aligns with very much what you're saying. And that is imposter syndrome, particularly when you're doing something for the first time, you probably are going to compare yourself. And this is how comparison works, right? You compare yourself to the best of the best in what you're about to do for the first time, which is setting yourself up for failure, right? And when you compare yourself, that little insecurity is good if you channel the energy and you keep working at getting better at what you've just done for the first time. So yes, absolutely. Imposter syndrome, a lot of people use it to hide behind, oh, I've got imposter syndrome, I don't want to do it. But it's like we were saying before the show, it's either I don't have time or I've got imposter syndrome, or it's not a priority. Again, I'm going to take you right back to one of the things that you said at the beginning where you were talking about mindset. It's all about mindset. What are you choosing to hide behind? And we all hide behind something. That's what makes us who we are. I think it's the Johari's window where it's the things that people that you don't know and the outside world doesn't know. And then there's things that outside people don't know that you know about yourself. And that's wonderful. That's sacred. But don't hide behind anything and use that as an excuse to not get on a stage. Use that as an excuse to not get in front of a YouTube channel or in front of a camera for a YouTube channel. Oh my word. Okay. Wow. I'm having the best time. This is absolutely incredible. Now, let's stay with the theme of imposter syndrome, and then I'm going to take you into our rapid fire. What would you say to somebody who is hiding behind, with the purest intent, not fraudulent, the purest intent, hiding behind imposter syndrome of getting in front of a camera or, presenting to the senior executives that's holding them back? What would be the first piece of advice that you would give somebody like that?
Get more information. A lot of times, what stops us is just a lack of information, something that we don't know. So when we feel stuck or we feel like it's too hard or it's overwhelming, a lot of times it's getting more information. Either you have to get more information or you have to, like you said, prioritize what it is that you truly, truly want. Get clear on what you want. Why do I want to speak? Some people say, I am going to speak and get on a stage, and that's going to help me become confident. They try to do it reverse.
Build the plane while it's flying.
Right. And you'll get confident in your competence, in your delivery of presentations. But there are a lot of people who deliver very, very well, and they don't feel confident internally. So you have to really get clear on, why do I really want to do this? Like doing that 5 layers deep. Why?
The 5 whys.
Why do I want to get on stage? Why? Because it'll make me confident. Why will it make me confident? It'll make me confident because I don't feel like I'm worthy. I don't feel like I'm good enough. Well, I'm not getting attention. Okay, well, why are you not getting attention? I'm not getting attention because nobody's appreciating my work. They don't see my value. I'm working 80 hours a week and they don't see why are you working 80 hours a week and they don't see your value? Well, because you got to work hard and, you get the point.
Oh,
You get the
yes.
point.
Oh, yes.
So get clear on why it is that you really want to do what you want to do. And then if that's not the issue, then just get more information. When you have more information, it's like running a marathon. My husband ran a marathon. He ran a marathon once. He used to do half marathons, but he ran one full marathon once. And I'm like, you never doing that again. Like eye vessels busting and you
Oh,
look
my
like
word.
it's hard on the body, like some
Wow.
people, they seriously injure themselves doing marathons, but some people love it. So, but if you start to run that marathon and you don't have any information, that maybe by mile 12, you're going to start to feel, overheated, or you're probably going to get some blisters on your feet. Like all of that is normal. So going in with that information, it prepares you so you don't have to feel like that imposter, or you don't have to feel that fear.
I'm going to quote you on that. Imposter.
Yeah, you don't have to feel it. So getting more information just prepares us. If I am starting a new company, I'm joining a new company, you're going to feel nervous going in for the first time, even if you've been a leader for 15 years, or if you're starting your business for the first time. There's natural fear. But if you have information, which, hey, for the first 4 to 5 years, actually, I had to tell someone this last week who wanted to start a franchise. For the first 4 to 5 years, your franchise will probably not turn a profit. But if you can stick to it, if you can do these certain things, by year 4 or year 5, it's going to turn around. Then you're removing that fear. And when people start their new business, they start their new job, they start, becoming a parent, the information reduces that trepidation. And then you're able to move better and plan and navigate better for whatever it is that you're trying to do.
That's incredible. Oh, we've got so many takeaways today. But I am going to shake things up a little bit.
Okay.
To close with some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Oh my God, I don't know if I'm ready.
You are so ready. You were born for this.
Am I ready, y'all? Am I ready?
Okay, so question number 1. What is the one thing you learned through experience that had you learned sooner would have changed the course of your life?
Finances, hands down.
Love it. Oh my word. I love that. Me too. 3 songs on your playlist and why you love them.
Oh gosh, I Que Bueno, which I learned in Zumba. Love it because it just pumps me up. Burna Boy, the Burna song. And then I have I forgot who the theme is, but it's called I'm in Control.
Okay.
So, and I love it because it just gets me in that Zen mood of I am in control. I let it go. I surrender.
I love that. Love, love, love. What do people get wrong about you all or most of the time?
Ooh, they think I am naive. Oh my God.
Really?
Superpower. Yes. Look, people tell me all the time, even just last week, that I don't look my age. I look like a 20-year-old something, something, something. And imagine in 2008 when I was doing freelancing and going to business meetings, imagine I probably looked like I was 15. So I have been underestimated because of my age. They get that, okay, because I look young, I don't know what I'm talking about until I start talking. So
I love that.
Yes.
And it is, you said it earlier, it's a superpower.
It is.
Secret weapon.
It is.
Number 1 travel hack.
Oh, travel hack. Can I talk about more than one thing?
No, you've got only one.
Oh my gosh. Travel hack. Water. Flush.
Love
Water,
that.
water. Drink lots of water first thing in the morning. Last thing at night when you're in a new country to flush, keep your body hydrated and flush out whatever you might encounter.
Love that. Next one. This is probably my favorite one. 2 more to go. You're on a private jet.
Ooh.
And you can have 3 people with you, famous or not famous. Who are they and what are you talking about?
Oh gosh. Oh, I have Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
I have Bob Marley.
I love Lauryn Hill.
I have Bob Marley, and maybe I have Nelson Mandela.
Oh, wow.
And we're talking about the revolution. We're talking about Africa's comeback.
Africa's comeback.
Yes.
You should copyright that, girl. Just saying. All right. Finish the sentence. Getting better at communication is?
A lifelong journey.
I love that. Because you never perfect it.
Never.
You never, ever, ever perfect it. And I think that's what people tend to forget sometimes is people go, oh, practice makes perfect. It doesn't make perfect, it makes progress.
Yes. Ooh, I love it.
Practice
Is that an
makes
Andrew
progress.
saying?
No, I would love to take credit for that, but I will not. I can't remember who told me. Oh, I know. When I was talking about when I first set foot to the front of the room when I was doing leadership training, the consultant that we were working with at the time, she had that saying, and I thought that it just takes a little bit of pressure off yourself when you are doing something new for the first time.
Yes.
All right, Monique. Oh, I can't believe that this
I know.
is what we have time for today. I don't even know where to start to say thank you so much for being on the first episode of the Leading with Andrew podcast. Where can our listeners find you and connect with you and just follow your journey?
Yes, you can connect with me at any of my websites, moniquerussell.com, clairecommunicationsolutions.com. I'm on Instagram, Claire Communication Coach, but you'll find me mainly on LinkedIn, just like where we connected, Monique Russell, Claire Communication Coach.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Well, there you go. Another episode on communication. Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, connect with us on Instagram at Leading with Andrew.